got a group
My
inside my
channel's
channel.
deep. My channel's deep, and the group inside of it's raw.
I got a whole group inside my channel.
Yes.
Dirty
Oh man.
little birdie.
Oh. Send me my bad girl. Punish
That's how
me.
babies are made.
That was a total accident. My arm hit it when I was reaching over. Of all the things that could have hit, it hit that.
It's perfect.
Perfect.
Oh,
Jeez
fucking hell.
Louise. Yeah, I have a thing. It's called what the fuck did I call it here? Punk Work Mix. And it's like 70 songs from different albums that are really, really good. You know what I mean? Like the best of the best.
Only the best for you.
Yeah. Well, if you're gonna listen to music,
Should only be the best.
yeah, dude. Listen, I mean, I'm all for listening to new stuff. I mean, one of my favorite things back in the day was I walk in and I'd say to Tony, hey, what's new? Like what's coming, what's new that's not like on Epitaph?
Yeah.
You know, or some other, you know, I mean, because I mean, back then Victory Records was still kind of a brand new record label.
Mm-hmm.
So you get a lot of cool shit coming from Victory, and Victory was all over the map. They didn't know if they wanted to do hardcore.
Yeah, they did have like a lot of eclectic shit on there in the beginning.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you could get any, it's like Hi-Fi and the Roadburners.
It got me a few times in a bad way, like where I was like, "Oh, Victory Records, this band must be cool." And then I buy it, go put it in my car on the way home, and I'm like, "What the fuck is this shit?"
Fucking
Bing, out the window.
yeah. See ya.
Well, there's $10 I'm not getting back.
I started going to oh God, I'm trying to think of the name of the place that was over there, kind of by where you live now. It used to be over in the corner. Was it CD Warehouse?
Yeah. I used to buy a whole bunch of shit from there.
Yeah,
It's where Tijuana Flats is now.
Where Tijuana Flats is, right.
Yeah.
Because you could walk in there and they had that whole back wall was all used shit.
I found a lot of good shit there just shopping around.
I bought a lot of good tapes there.
Yeah,
You
tapes.
could get tapes.
Yeah, they even had records too, didn't they?
Yeah, they had tapes and they had vinyl in the back far corner.
Yeah.
Yep. And I used to get a lot of really good because nobody would buy the tapes. Everybody was there to get CDs, and you could get used CDs for like $4.
Yeah, no, I remember that place. You know, that's something the youth today will never enjoy, man. Like just like Blockbuster, like just going to a physical location
and just wandering,
just browsing through the stuff, and then, I mean, how many terrible CDs and tapes did you buy just based on the album cover?
Oh,
and then, like this looks cool.
Yeah,
that was like the Victory Records.
Like,
oh, I'll buy it because it's Victory Records and it's dog shit. You're like, this sucks.
I used to read a lot of the underground zines and stuff. I'd get them at shows, or I'd give them over at Tony's place or whatever, and I would read them, and there would be like these write ups.
Okay.
And so you're reading, and you're like, oh, this fucking band sounds awesome. I'm gonna go get their CD if I can get it. You know what I mean? They'd be on a small record label like Go Kart or something else.
Yeah.
And then you'd rush out to go try to find it. You were hitting the different CD stores and stuff and going up to like Sound Exchange, even up in like way up in Tampa, and try to get that shit. But you could never find. Then you'd find it. You'd be so stoked. You'd go out to the car, swing.
You were more high tech than me, though. I didn't even do that part. I was like, I would just go blind. There was no research. I was just like,
well, I'm not saying
go buy some CDs today.
I used to do that a lot. I mean, that was my main source, was just going randomly. But what I'm saying is I'd get all excited too, because I'd be reading these scene zines. And they would be these like glowing articles about somehow these bands were dude. Okay, so here's a great example. So we buy Bad Religion's coming to play. Now I'd already seen them like 5 times. Okay. And like one of the times I saw him was a New Year's Eve show. And it was incredible. And I don't think that'll ever be topped. I can't even remember what year it was, because I just remember I was fucking wasted. And by the time we got back to town, I got even like, DEFCON 7 nuclear drunk, fucking wasted. But so we get tickets to go. The headlining band is, guess who?
I have no idea, man. My brain is scrambled eggs right now, brother.
Blink 182.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
I was like, this is so fucking disrespectful. You're having Bad Religion be the support for the main act.
Yeah.
Because they were traveling. Well, there was a band that was opening for Bad Religion. There was local bands there too, right? Of course, you know they do like the local 20-minute support, the 2 20-minute support acts, and then they do like the 3 main events, right?
Yeah.
So the first band on the tour was a band called Phoenix TX. Now I had never heard of them. At that time, nobody had heard of them.
Right.
Nobody knew who they were. This was the end of the 90s. Nobody knew who the fuck they were. And so I'm like, oh, all right, here we go. So we go and we get our beers and for $9 because it was at the fucking Ice Palace, dude.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So we paid well, dude, it was Blink. They had to go to a big venue. So we go and we get $9 beers. And we're walking in, and it was me and the little grommet that did my tattoos. You know who I'm talking about.
Uh-huh.
And he's saying some shit like, he's like, yeah, look at all these kids and shit. I was like, dude, you look like them. What are you talking about? You look like an evil Gollum version.
You look like their little brother.
Yeah. And so we walk in, and as we're walking in, there's this band on stage. And basically we were just we pre-gigged out in the parking lot for a while because we didn't care. We were just there to see BR. I mean, we paid a lot of money, but who cares, right?
Right.
And there was like fucking 15 of us that went up there. So we walk in, and as I'm walking in the main room to walk to where it's the standing room only down in the pit where we had our tickets, this band comes on, and he's like, all right. And they're playing like this jun 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 like real chunky kind of thick sounding rhythm. And the guy's like, all right, a lot of you kids in here, you don't know what fucking hardcore music is. And I went, are we going to get something like, am I going to be absolutely blown away by this here in a second? Am I going to like walk in and drop my beer? Like, how did I miss these guys? Right.
Right.
He's like, so we're going to show it exactly what it is. He's like, let's do it. And then they break into this like hard, like it's starting to sound like a chunk. The drums kick in, and it's like, da 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 do do da do da do da da do da da. And it was okay, what was not really popular but came popular for like 8 months was Screamo.
Yeah, it was my mommy didn't let me do my job. Yeah, that kind of
yes.
Yeah,
dude. I went like this. I was like, oh.
Well, the funny part about that story is when they started saying a lot of you kids don't know what hardcore is. At that point, right there, I know this is about to be some bullshit because you don't have to announce that it's hardcore if you're playing hardcore. You're just gonna play the song, and they're gonna.
Yeah, I've never. I mean, and you know that hardcore
it doesn't get much gayer than that.
Like a lot of New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, like hardcore bands, like punk rock hardcore bands, they are just hype. They will talk mad shit, but they never come out and they're like, "You kids don't know what hardcore is." It's
fucking dorks. That
yeah,
sounds like fucking dork. That's like something a dork would fucking say.
Yeah, well, not only that, like if you go to see one of their shows, you're at a hardcore show. So I think you know what it is.
Well, yeah, you know what time it is.
Even though I got to tell you, dude, and I know 100% you're going to agree with me on this. I just know you will. I mean, you might have a little bit of a difference of opinion, but it's actually happened in front of us before. And we had a very, very quick conversation about what was about to happen at this show one time. Like you said something to me and I said something to you. I'm like, I'm ready. You ready? You ready? Okay, we're ready. Like it was about to go like, bam, like, So when I was growing up and you go to hardcore shows, and I don't care listen, nobody was into like the New York hardcore shit like I was growing up. That was in our friend group. Right. So I was going to those hardcore shows, those like New York style ones, right? And I would go to like the rhythmic beatdown, like hardcore style shows. And I would go to Slayer and all the other ones that everybody else went to too, right? So you're getting all these types of different bands, whether it's DRI or Slayer or Murphy's Law or Agnostic Front or any of those other guys from like that whole East Coast crew.
Yeah, East Coast.
Yeah, it's hard. That shit is hard. Even out into Ohio with guys like Don Foose from Spud Monsters and and those guys, some of the guys that were part of like the Krishna movement of hardcore, like those bands were fucking hard. And when you go in the pit, those pits were fucking hard, but a lot of them were kind of family orientated feelings of hard. Like if you caught someone with an elbow, you stopped immediately to check on them.
Mm-hmm.
Like you turn your head and you look at them. You all right? You all right? Okay, sorry. Everybody knows it happens, right? And then one day I went to a show and people started karate kicking.
Yeah, I remember when that became a thing.
And I was like, what the fuck? As the very first time it happened to me, I like was already a grown man, right? So I'm standing at the edge of the pit wall because I can just hold that area. I'm not going anywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is funny because if you ever see me just standing on the edge of the pit, you know what's surrounding me? Girls.
Yeah.
They're always stand because they'll just duck behind me real quick. It's actually funny because you'll take pictures of me and there'll be like an army of hoes behind me.
It's because you're like Jupiter and they're the moons.
Yeah. They're ducking out of the way of
I can hide behind this guy.
Yeah. Like space debris, duck.
Yeah.
But yeah, my orbit, my gravitational pull keeps them safe.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember being there and I forget what show we were watching. It wasn't even a New York hardcore style band. It was like a California band playing like a Cro-Mags tune. And this kid turned around and he went to do a like a spinning back kick. And when he jumped up in the air to do it, he was like 18 inches in front of me. So he was going to catch me with that kick. I caught that kid and planted him on his fucking face, dude. I caught his leg in the air and I had basically a hold of his ass and his leg, his calf. And I grabbed him and I just planted him right over onto his fucking noggin, which is in retrospect isn't a good idea because we both were there. And like a guy got his head dropped on his head at the Sugar Shack.
Yeah, that was my band playing when that happened, actually.
Yeah, not a good night.
No.
So, but this, I mean, dude, when you're not kicking me in the face, dude, with your work boots on.
I see videos of that. I remember when it became a thing, and I was at those shows, and I remember seeing that kind of thing, and I always thought to myself, I'm like, well, you better like have some space because I can tell you right now, like if you kick me, I'm gonna fight you. Like we're gonna fight. Like you know what I mean? Like I remember one time that happened. I just got a fresh beer, and I just kind of ponied up to. I wasn't even like on the edge of the pit. I was just like kind of the outer rim around there where you got a couple layers of people in front of you.
Sure.
And some kid like standing there like started doing like the haymaker shit and knocked the beer right out of my hand. And I remember like I wedgie atomic slammed him on his face. Like I just grabbed the back of his pants, was like, you bitch, and just like boom, toppled him over, and he just rolled off onto the ground, and he just got up and he starts throwing up peace signs like whoa, whoa, whoa. And I'm like, well, what are you doing, dude? Like, why are you fucking throwing punches and haymakers and kicks and shit?
Yeah, well, I got that. Somebody threw one of those haymakers into the crowd as they went by, and it went right over my shoulder. It missed my face by about 7 inches. I grabbed that motherfucker by the neck and picked him clean up off the ground and started running with him right into the crowd. And I just planted him. I go, throw a punch at me again, motherfucker. See what happens to you. I mean, dude, I'm an old school dude. Like, you know, whatever, dude. Yeah, I'll go. You want to go? We go. You know, it's just stupid shit.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, the time it happened with you and me, we were down south. Do you remember where we were? We were at that little tiny club that the guy that owned the place never wanted us to play because he didn't like me, but he knew that if we played, people showed up.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know where I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know where you're talking.
We played there with F.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about now.
Those guys, by the way, Miami Legends. F. Fuck. Mm-hmm. Such a good band. They've been around for like 200 years. Like, seriously, the guy
looks like it too.
What's that?
They look like it too.
So I say the guy that sings for me, he literally looks like Nosferatu. He's been dead for 30 years.
Yeah, like I've definitely seen him like on those like Depends commercials. Like,
yes.
Yeah, he looks old. Yeah.
But I saw F. I saw F in our hometown at the old warehouse behind the Crazy Horse Saloon. Remember?
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
I saw F then, and that was 1993.
Yeah, they're old.
They're old. So I forgot what I was going with that because I started thinking about F. Oh yeah, we were there. That's where we were. We were in that place, and somebody started doing the karate kicking and like the heaving and hoeing, like they were going to start throwing kicks. And And I looked at you and you looked at me and was like, dude, if this guy, we're going to fuck this guy up if he kicks us.
Yeah. I don't understand it, man. It was
I
just
don't
like
get it either.
it was just like at some point in like the late 90s, early 2000s, all of a sudden everyone just started doing that. And I'm like, what is happening? Like, I don't,
Yeah.
whatever.
I was just like, dude, do you realize if you'd have done that with me back at like not just me, like in my era,
Well, it would have been a fight. Like
a
in our
fight.
day, like when you're in a circle pit, like it was like you said, it was like a pit, like it was like
Yeah.
a circle pit. And like if someone just started throwing punches and kicks in there, it's a fight. Like I don't know, like who you're directing it at. I guess nobody, but somebody's gonna take it as you're directing it at me, and you're gonna be in a fight. Like that's what would have happened. Like,
Even though I will say, in my dickish like behavior when I was younger, because I'm such a large character, that whenever there was a big circle pit that would break out, I'd swim upstream. And it used to fucking piss people off, dude. Because here comes that pit around, and here I come through the middle of the stream, fucking the other way. And people, it would just be like leveling people.
funny you mentioned BR. That was the last pit I was ever in,
Really was bad religion.
and I was a full grown, like a full like adult, like wasn't
Yeah.
like a 20-something adult, like an adult.
Right.
Like
We're
I
like
was
the
sore
next day,
I
you're
was
like,
like
oh,
I was like sore for 3 days after adult,
yeah,
you know what I mean? But
yeah.
I remember that feeling too because it was like as younger, you know what I mean? It was kind of intense, and then I remember the feeling of like, you know, because I'm like 230 at this point, you know what I mean? And I'm like people just bouncing off me, and I'm like, whoa, this is like not like this is nothing like I remember it.
It gives you just a small microscopic glimpse of what it was like to be me at shows.
Yeah, right, exactly. It was just like all these kids are just bouncing off me, and I'm like, oh shit, sorry, dude. Like, picking people up, like my bad, bro.
Dude, I had this kid one time. I don't know what he was fucking thinking. I mean, he paid such a price. He thought, I'll grab a hold of the big man's shirt and go for the ride. Because he's just a little guy. Just a little, he was tall, but he was like a string bean little,
Uh-huh.
right? Really super thin. And I'm going and I'm just going through it, and I can feel that someone's dragging behind me. And I had like reached back one time and tried to like smack the hand off me or whatever, but it wasn't going. He was going for the ride. So we come around right there, right by the front of the stage at the theater.
Mhm.
And I fucking, as I came, I turned hard to my left and stopped, and he came whipping around me. And when he came whipping around me, I grabbed him under his armpits, and I took like 3 steps, and I jumped up in the air and landed on him. Fucking flat like a pancake. This dude was like, you just heard that last breath go.
Yeah.
He was like, he looked at me like his eyes were gonna pop out of his fucking head, and I was like, "That's what you get for fucking hanging on to me." Dude. If I had $1 for every time I did something in that place, and I heard the crowd go, "Oh," like I'd be a rich man. Seriously.